Good morning, everyone. It's Amanda Douglas coming back to you again with another edition of a wonderful interview. I am super excited to have this guest here, Cliff Long. Of course, if you guys have never seen him, now I have him on here. It's our ORRA CEO. And I can speak for all of us, Cliff, when I say that you definitely have brought such a new, fresh way into how you lead, and we're all super grateful for it. You definitely have a servant heart, and in times of crisis, we talk about leadership and the way that people react, and the way that you've been communicating, and the way that you've been jumping on social media, making sure that we're all informed. We're so grateful for and so impressed, and so I just really wanted to dig into you, like I was telling you before. You're always interviewing other people, right? So we really want to know who's Cliff Long, and his passion for personal development and his passion for people. So tell us a little bit more about you, where you came from, and what brought you to ORRA.
Okay, well, first of all, Amanda, thank you and everyone at Celebration for allowing me to be a part of your world today, a part of your broadcast. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, a small town, and at the time it only had about 250,000 people. It's the capital of Alabama, and I was born and raised there, went to high school, went to college there, and I basically was a small town boy just like everybody else. I was a country boy at heart. I like hunting and fishing and going outdoors. I like shooting guns and traveling. There's not really a lot about me that's atypical. Uh, After college, I was employed by Bell South, now AT&T, and I was certain that in life I was going to be a CEO of AT&T. And I may be the CEO of Aura now, but way back then, years ago, 20 years ago, I was all about the company. I was a company guy, and I was climbing that ladder. I was doing very well. I remember when it came to sales, at one point I was number two in Florida and number five in the nation. I always knew what sales was about. I knew how to relate to people. I knew how to close. I was a hellacious closer. If you let me in your door, I was going to close you. And so I loved working for it. I grew my territory. I believed in the company. And then eventually they moved me to Florida. And I took over running Bell South business in the Panhandle all the way to Duval. And um, and that was it. And eventually I left the company and got into insurance and then politics, and then from politics to lobbying, and from lobbying to lobbying for realtors, and from lobbying for realtors all the way to taking my first post as CEO in the Panhandle of the Emerald Coast Association. And from there, I went back to Birmingham, a much larger association, larger city, was CEO there. God continued to bless me tremendously. We were tremendously successful. But I started missing Florida. I realized that, hey, you know what? I miss those beaches. I miss that sunshine. It's cold here. And after one or two snows, it was time for me to pack the bag and come on back down to Florida. And Orlando offered me the opportunity of a lifetime. I love it here. Now, Amanda, along the way, I told that story very romantically, but nobody ever tells the hard part. Nobody ever tells the difficult parts. I need everyone out there to understand that it was not rosy. And when you transitions are difficult. And I had some low moments, and we're not going to talk about all those low moments today. We'll save them for another day. But it wasn't the mountaintop moments that made Cliff Long. It was the valley moment. It was the moment when things were at their worst. That's where the character was built. That's where the fire was lit, and that's what got me here today.
Definitely. I love that message. And that's always true, right? The best times are built through adversity. And
Yeah.
we can definitely see your leadership style, and the way that you're leading ORRA right now speaks volumes for that. So we appreciate you. Tell us what the current operations of ORRA look like now, and when do you guys, plan to be back fully functional, or are you there right now?
Well, we are about 75% functional now. ORRA never actually shut down. So because real estate was essential, I remember literally when I had the call with the county attorney, and I said, listen, last night Mayor Demings declared real estate essential. And what we need to understand is, I need to understand what does that mean for ORRA, because we had been given permission by executive order from the board of directors and the president that we were going to shut ORRA down. And the county attorney said to me on that day, actually, he said, well, real estate is an essential service. And because real estate is an essential service and you support real estate, that makes you an essential service. But that also means, Amanda, it made you an essential service as well. It made our finance people essential. It made people who support the realtors in their industry essential. So we needed to come up with a plan, but also something unique happened. We're not just Orange County. Our members are in Osceola. Our members are in Seminole County. And those counties did not shut down when Orange shut down. So it meant that the Association of Realtors, although we were closing our doors in an effort to discourage and help flatten the curve, we had to come up with a very unique mode of being in business. And so we closed the doors to walk-in traffic, and we made most of the services, well, actually every service that the brokers needed was still available. But with regards to things that allowed us to come into physical contact, because we were in close quarters, we had to shut the doors, so we offered curbside service. So if you still needed keys, you still needed lock boxes, we were absolutely open. You just give us a call, come on by. And so we're about 90% capacity now, with the exception of offering in-person classes and with the exception of you walking in to get a lockbox. But we're fully capable. We'll do our CE, our classes online. We're up and running. In fact, we even help facilitate a class in Puerto Rico that's happening right now. As you and I know, the state of Puerto Rico is doing their very first ABR class. ORRA's not doing it, but we help them get online. So it's not just about helping Orlando. We've actually literally helped other states. So we're doing more than most, and I'm very proud of it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was just going to ask any other new initiatives. You just mentioned the CE classes that are going, virtual, and that was passed for 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. Or how long is that going to continue?
It's going to continue the 90 days. But I have a feeling, if I know our members, Amanda, they're not going to let go of this. The ability it is so tempting. I am going to have to fight to get into their presence again, and I am absolutely coming up with a plan. I love you guys. I don't want to never see you again. I've got to get you to come back to ORRA. So
I want to touch you and hug again. Yeah.
I've got to hug you. I've got to touch you. I've got to tell you how beautiful you are. I can't do that. This Zoom is killing us extroverts. Yeah. It's wearing us out. I've got to see somebody. And so, but one more thing. Last week I challenged people to do a random act of kindness. Big shout out. Listen, Amanda, I can't tell you how many cookies, cakes, pies were brought to the association. I've got edible arrangements. I love you guys. That's why I got to see you again.
Yes, I love that. Well, we truly appreciate all the wisdom you've been giving right now, and you seem to really be kind of the first person on our board that's really rose to this very leadership style that's leading through personal development and pouring into the realtors, starting even the uplift with Cliff, right? And just, I love the confidence of, you're not afraid to say, we have faith and there's hope and we're going to be better on the other side of this. And, just setting that foundation. Where does your love for personal development come from? And how do you think it's really helping you as a leader?
So, since we're talking about Cliff Long, it comes from my love for God. I have been through some rough moments. I have been through some moments whereby I didn't know, and I'm trying to keep from welling up. I didn't know where the next meal was going to come from. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to not know and not be able to pay the power bill. I know what it's like to not have money for the car note. I know what it's like when the creditors are calling. And I remember that time years ago whereby I made God to promise, and I said, Lord, if you ever get me out of this, I promise you, I will never come back this way. And God, whatever lesson Whatever lesson it is that you are trying to teach me, let me learn it. I don't want to ever do this again. And remember, as I told you, all this happened in that transition, Amanda, and that times were difficult. And but you know what? He was faithful to me. I hurt when the lights were off. I lit a candle. I did not quit. When I didn't have one job that would pay for my family, I remember I got two jobs. I literally sold insurance in the daytime, and at night I put on my boots and my jeans, and I worked at UPS. And all this after having gone to college. All this after having flown on corporate jets and private jets with AT&T. You know, you hit hard times in life. There's no specific time that it's going to happen to you. 9/11 was a turning point in my life that I never want to live through again. But God was faithful to me, and He did rebuild me, and He did get me back out. And that promise that I made to Him was that I'd never let anybody else around me feel like I felt. I'd never let anybody else around me suffer, and I wouldn't do something to help. And so every day, it's all out. Like there's no second chance. Like there's no, every day is a Hail Mary. I live every day like this is it. This is the moment. Each day that I get is a promise to God renewed. But not only that, it's the promise that He made to me. So I love my members. I love everyone in this industry. I love you. And I put this, there's no such thing as I'm tired or I got something else to do. Make a way, make it happen. That's the motto.
Yes. I love that message. And I know there's so many people listening now that needed to hear that. Many people, fall victim to feeling like during times of crisis, they can't get on the other side, but making yourself that promise that I'm not going to go back there and staying true to your faith. I love listening to that. So thank you for sharing that. During this time, it's been super challenging, especially being the CEO of ORRA, and during the times when they were even announcing, are we essential, are we not? There was so much trying to get around the communication. What is one of the biggest challenges you've had as a leader during this crisis?
Representing people who are in both camps. So people don't see, they see this. They don't see the ugliness. They don't see the hate mail that I got. They don't see the people who call my phone to say, your association is doing the wrong thing by being essential. I'm moving my membership someplace else.
Wow.
They don't see the negativity that comes with it because we don't post it and we don't put it up. But having members who feel like we should be open and they're adamant about that, and having members who feel like we should be closed and that we're harming the community and trying to balance the needs, both of them pay dues. Both of them have an opinion that's valid to me. And trying to balance being open, but not putting 16,000 people on the streets, and realizing that I have the power of life and death, that responsibility that's given to us is that, if I don't somehow discourage some activity, meaning I put 16,000 people on the streets, you'll never stop it in Orlando. You can't. The realtors have the ability, this community, title, real estate, mortgage, we have the ability to absolutely flatten this community if we're irresponsible. But on the same token, people have to eat. On the same token, everybody doesn't have 6 months worth of reserves laid up. How do I facilitate their needs and their voices and make sure that I'm open to advocate for them? The most difficult thing is doing that. But Amanda, I learned a long time ago, I don't just have 16,000 members. I have 16,000 1099s. Every last one of them is a small business owner in business for themselves.
Right.
I've got to do what I feel is best for the community using my conscience. And that's how we balanced it.
Yeah. I love making this, and I always say the same thing. I was like, I never say that I have 46 employees. I have 108, which includes spouses and families, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All that weight is on your shoulders, and you do. It shows so much through your leadership style how you treat everyone as if they were your own family. And that 16,000, I can imagine, is a heavy weight, but you're doing a great job with it. So So with everything that's going on and you know how the real estate community is still facilitating closings, and people have reacted very quickly and adapted to the new norm, where do you really see this shaping real estate in the future and shaping our association?
The remote online notaries, things of that nature, that's the future. I can tell you right now, if you haven't made the adjustment, make the adjustment. If you it's just another arrow in your quiver. People have a need to interact with each other. That's our human nature. So we're going to go back to some form of touching and human interacting. It's how we're built. But the nature of more online business, we were already headed that way. We were already looking at online apps. We were already looking at iBuyer platforms. Let's not panic and pretend like something's happening that's new. This is not new. It's just you're being forced to learn it. You're being immersed in it as opposed to you dipping your little toe in it. But we're already headed there. Remember on September the 10th of 2000, if you got on a plane, you just walked on the plane. You walked right through the airport, handed them your ticket, got on the plane, and that was it. But on September the 11th, everything changed. And for 15 days, there were no flights. But on September the 16th, if you got on a plane, you went through an x-ray machine. And ever since then, you're going through x-ray machines. And you feel bad if someone didn't. Well, Amanda, where we're going is the new norm. People are going to be looking at temperatures. People are going to be looking at how we kill germs, how you approach the business. People aren't just going to open back up and just hug each other, willy-nilly anymore. Our industry is going to change, and it's going to change for the better, for a more healthy society, more digital services, things that can be done by your phone. We have already changed. And if I could elaborate on it just a little bit more, you need to answer the call to action. Answer it. Your business needs to make the adjustment. If I were to pick up a phone and I go to the App Store and I punch in, let's just say, travel, airfare. Well, what will pop up is Travelocity, Expedia, Kayak, Cheap Tickets, Cheapo Air. All these things will pop up. But what used to pop up first was Delta. What used to pop up first was United. What used to pop up first was Air Canada. They don't. The Travelocity, the Expedia, those aggregators, they're in that space now, and they're in it for good, and they're not going anywhere. The saving grace is at the end of the day, you're still going to get on a Delta jet. You're still going to get on but there's people that have got in that space, you're still going to get on a U.S. Air jet. Well, when you type in title or when you type in real estate, what used to come up, what's going to come up now? You might see Zillow, you might see 10 other platforms, Open Door. You might see all these different platforms, but what used to come up first was Remax. What used to come up first was ERE. Those aggregators are in that space, and they're not going anywhere. If you miss that phase, you're blind. It's already here, and these platforms aren't going anywhere. What you've just got to do is make the adjustment and make sure your clients know who you are. Make sure the title business is never going to go back to the way it was. You got to make sure your people, the realtors, the people you work with, know where you are, because your survival goes all the way back to that beginning, is based on relationships. And the people who have the relationships are the ones that are going to be in business, but it will never be the same as it was.
Yeah, definitely. So what I'm hearing is just digging deeper into those relationships, retaining them, but hybrid, leaning into the technology. We need to make sure that the technology is not going away. It's just there's probably people behind the scenes creating even bigger things right now because of the crisis, right? So we need to lean in and get ahead of it. So completely with that. So just, I wanted to kind of wrap up with any words of advice or anything for maybe somebody that's struggling right now, maybe somebody, I call it kind of like furloughing themselves, right? It's somebody that might be struggling with what to do to take action today, to really kind of get back into it and get that momentum to be great on the other side. Any tools, techniques, words of advice, from your personal development perspective as well for the real estate community?
So being in title, being in real estate, it's just like a relationship. Remember, we just said relationships, relationships. So your business got stagnant. Your relationship with your husband can get stagnant. Your relationship with your wife, your relationship in the business community, it can all get stagnant. But one of the things that they teach guys, you hear me say it before, is whatever you did to get her, that's what you got to do to keep her. So if you started off taking her to the movies, if you started off whining her and dining her, well then, sir, that's what she's used to. If that's what she's accustomed to, you need to keep that up. If you started off kissing her on the cheek, you need to keep kissing her on the cheek. So let's talk about relationships. Whatever you did to get yourself started and to be successful, I know you're struggling. You need to go back to the basics, go back to the beginning. Have you called your client base? Have you called the realtors? Have you called the people that you're used to doing business with? Have you told them that you're still here? Have you told them that you care about them? How have you made them feel good about themselves in the midst of this epidemic, this pandemic? That's what you need to do. You need to go back to your clients and say, hey, I'm still here. I need you to know that I know you're struggling, but I care about you. One of the best things that you can do when you are in your valley, when you're at the worst moment, build somebody else up. The way that you come out is not to sit there and wallow in your own stuff. The way that you come out is even when you're feeling your worst, pick up that phone, call somebody, and tell them how great they made you feel. And in the midst of causing other people to feel good about themselves, you will lift yourself out of the valley that you're in. Don't call somebody and tell them about the valley. Don't call them to tell them how bad it is. We're all going through something. Call them and tell them how much they have inspired you. And you're going to be the one that gets their business in the future. You're going to be the one that survives. So the message to you today is to grab those boots and pull yourself up. Start telling a positive story. Call 10 people today and tell them how they positively impacted your life. Call 10 past clients today to say, listen, your closing, that moment with you was the best one ever. Call 10 people today, jumpstart your business, and tell them how awesome they are. And in turn, they will tell you what's special about you. And when you hear what's special about you, you will know that you are somebody. So the answer to jumpstarting your business and getting to the next place is to call somebody else and give them the blessing. When you do that, when you help them, everything's going to turn around for you. That's a promise.
Guys, if you can't hear that passion and energy that he has for you and helping you, I mean, Cliff, I can't say it enough how much we appreciate you and your positive messages. And, you know, just even through your story today, I think you're going to resonate and relate with so many more people in our real estate community. And, you know, pick up the phone, right? Just take that action today. And, you know, messaging is just a little bit different, but, you know, just let them know that they inspire you. And you really inspire all of us, Cliff. So we sincerely appreciate you, know, and thank you so much for your time this morning. I know it's super valuable. But thank you again, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with Cliff Long, our ORRA CEO, appreciate you.
Love you, Amanda. You take care.
Thank you. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.